episode of the Divine Connection Show.
I'm your host, Katrina Deal-McCall.
And I'm your host, Clotea, Mack.
And I'm your host, Tenora Edwards.
We are so glad that you joined us this evening. Let's just dive right in. Divine connections are those associates or relationships that God has preordained for us.
Divine connections are also priceless because God definitely uses them to drive us towards our destiny and our purpose.
And when you enter into a divine connection, it's a next level relationship that fuels your vision for purpose.
So, Tenora, I'm going to let you go ahead and start how our divine connection came about, since it started with you.
Yes, it did. And as I recall, and you guys may have to help me in some of the details, but my recollection is that we were preparing for a pink party event. And Tammy had mentioned your name. Well, actually, I believe she met you through Pastor Burke.
Yes, that's correct.
Or shared his name, and that's how we got in contact with you. And she also introduced me to Clotea. So, to go back a little bit, before that, I was prophesied to that I would meet new friends. And I think we discussed that that night that we met. But anyhow, I was kind of not really reluctant, but I didn't know, I hadn't met you guys. So I didn't know what to expect, and I was actually setting up a dinner date so that we can kind of go over a few things and get to know each other, and I can share my vision of what the pink party offers. But just so happened, I had Katrina, I believe, scheduled first for like a 15, 20-minute meet, and then I was going to meet with Clotea right after. But in the interim, we all ended up at the dinner
Together
at the same time. So actually, I believe you guys had bumped into each other before I had even showed up. But anyhow, when we all sat down, our meetings had overlapped, so we just sat down and we began discussing the event, but it just turned totally into a divine connection. I mean, I believe that was one of the best nights I've had. We laughed, we cried, we shared each other's food. I mean, we just had wonderful connection. And I just felt the love from that day forth. It was just truly a great experience, and still is to this day.
One key point that you mentioned with divine connections, it's almost like that person was meant to be there. It doesn't feel like a first meeting. It feels like, girl, I've been knowing you for years. And then we just drew closer and closer together. Or a recap, that moment when me and Clotea actually met in the parking lot. You want to share that with how we really met? What happened? You want to say how I pulled up and I heard like this music coming? You want to share that part?
I was doing forgiveness workshops. I had just started doing forgiveness workshops, and I was really kind of new to, okay, how am I going to get myself out there? So I was just trusting God to get me out there, doing my workshops once a month. Well, I came across the Pink Party page, and this is something that I didn't do, but I felt led to put down, this is a great place for me to do the forgiveness workshop. And I just pressed, send under comments, right? And so Tammy called me, and we connected. She's like, well, my sister is actually doing the pink party, but she is going to come and sit in one of your forgiveness workshops just to kind of check you out. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And I was so excited that I had made that connection with Tammy based on what I put, because I remember I'm new at this, so I didn't really know. I'm like, this just sounds to a group of women, this sounds perfect for forgiveness. Well, Tenora comes, she's really sweet, she's pretty reserved still, not quite sure. And then we set up our meeting, so I go in. No.
Yeah, that's the point. That one right there. Back it up.
I was in the Sparkle is my song. Okay, I was in the parking lot, so it was me. It was my car. It was a truck, and it was Katrina's car. Well, I didn't see anybody in their cars, right? Because it was a truck there. So I'm singing my heart out. I get out the car. Song is over. I walk past the car. I'm like, oh my God, was this lady there? Oh, this whole time, did she hear me singing like this? So I'm walking, go in, talk to the Lord. She's like, what's that? You know, Katrina's supposed to be coming. I'm like, and my first thing in my head, I bet you that lady who was out in that car to listen to me sing. Please don't let me hear me so embarrassed. And then she come walking in the restaurant. Sparkle, part two. And so that is how we stand. And it is truly, when you talk about a divine connection, all of us have been hurt by women, let down by women. We probably hurt some women, done some things that we shouldn't have done. And so we all had walls up. We all had reasons to have walls up. But that night, I couldn't believe that I was doing that kind of stuff. You know how when you go on a date, you're like, I can't believe I did that.
Right.
I couldn't believe I did that with them. Because I'm like, we sitting up crying. And
yes.
It was like, seriously, like this was a match made in heaven, literally, and it was just brought to earth. And it was from just all walls dropped. You just knew that you knew, like, this is my sister. This is my friend. And it was so strange. That's how you know it was divine. It was something seriously out of this world that you cannot explain the connection immediately. I mean, immediately there was a connection.
I have to say, from my end, I was already a year into my photography business. That was actually prophesied over. And a year into it, and then Pastor Burton had contacted me. I had did a photo shoot for him. And he said, I know these two sisters, they're looking to film a documentary. They have a couple events in Cleveland. Can I connect you with them? I'm like, okay. So Tammy called me from Florida. We talked on the phone. Like I said, like you had just mentioned, it was just like, hey, I know you already. I'm going to connect you with my sister. And then Tenora has set up the meeting. So when I walk in, I'm like, hey girls, like it was nothing. It was no nerves. It was just like I was supposed to be there. So here we are today. And then the influence and encouragement that we get from one another is absolutely amazing. Those divine connections, one key point is they really impact your life. They really impact your purpose. And eventually you will get to your destiny. But these type of relationships are so super important. Chloe, you mentioned a very important point about breaking down the walls and how us as women, either we've been hurt in friendships, girlfriends that, betrayed our trust, so it's really hard sometimes to connect with other women. But go ahead and share your thoughts on that.
Definitely. So the idea is a divine connection is your safe space. It's the place, it's like, it's your home. And because of that, it allows you to heal. It gives you hope again. Like, there are good women out there. There are women who I can have a good relationship with. There are women who care about me. And as time has progressed, even though it was an instant connection, with the divine connection, as time progresses, it gets stronger and you heal more because you're there for each other. You're supporting one another. And it gives you hope again that there are good relationships, and even in the midst of our relationship, our threefold cord thing going on, quite a few of us, all of us have either lost someone or we've had to kind of like, it's like the relationship that, I'll say this, it's the relationship that you gauge all other relationships going. I mean,
yes.
That's me.
Yes.
And it's like, when I'm looking, I'm like, wait a minute, if this ain't looking like these two over here, then I have a problem. I need to either redefine where they belong in my life, but once you get that divine connection, and I just say that it's perfect, but just like with your family, there may be disagreements, there may be times where you're like, okay, I'm trying to figure out how to approach this, but because it is divine, it's how you gauge your other relationship, the way you feel in it, the genuine, the authenticity, the support. And sometimes on our walk, all three of us, and I'm sure they're going to tell you about it, it's been times where we look at relationships now from a different lens. Now that we have what's real and what is divine.
Yes. Yes.
We're looking at our other relationships like, I don't know about this. I thought this was good. You know how you date that person, and then you meet the woman, you like, man, that's what, okay, whatever. Who, what? same thing with my friendships with them. I gauge all my other friendships by that. And yeah, I'll be bold enough to say it. Yes, I do.
And if I can interject a little, it's a relationship that allows. I didn't feel any judgment, and I just felt safe. And I'm not like that. I am somewhat reserved. These two are more outgoing and bubbly, and I am reserved. I'm a little more laid back, and sometimes people can misconstrue that, but you guys allow me to be me. You accept me and my era, and that's such a good feeling. It's such a safe space, and I just love having that type of friendship sharing that type of friendship with you ladies. And we, like I said, we share tears, we've shared truths, things that I just never thought. But when you're able to release in a safe space, you're able to grow and heal.
Yes.
We've cried, we laughed, we've supported one another,
yes,
and
yes.
we just have each other's back, and that's a blessing.
I have some other points that I wanted to share about divine relationships. Growing together, building that trust, pushing each other, holding each other accountable. That's the key things. Things are not always roses, but being comfortable with their relationship, you can come to one another and say, hey, what do you think about this? Or I didn't like that. Or, we feel comfortable to approach one another and know first and foremost that neither one of us are perfect. There's no judgment. That God put us here for that, to uplift one another and encourage one another. And then another key point is we all have different walks of life. Some of us are more profound in one area of our life than others, but as a unit together, we don't mind sharing with one another. Hey, this is what I learned. This is didn't work out, and and share with one another. Lots of times in relationship, people hold back for some reason. It could be jealousy. I don't want to share this part because I'm jealous, or they're going to do better, or comparing yourself, or trying to outdo one another. It's none of that in divine relationships. First and foremost, you're happy that your sister is advancing to the next level. There's no competing with one another. You don't have that. Because look, I figure, hey, you win, we all win. Because you're edifying, it's God's glory. He put us here, so everybody wins. Everybody it's a blessing for everyone. Another thing is there's always a view of, or I guess we constantly talk about the journey. And when you actually continue to talk about the journey, you know what the destination is going to look like. So when we are able to get together, remember back when, and now look at us now, and then we're going to look back at this moment and say, hey, remember, when we're in that pandemic and we had to communicate on, via Zoom, and now look at us now. So what do you guys have to say about that?
I think for me, I could speak, because you guys know I don't do Facebook.
I know.
But you guys have always pushed me out of my comfort zone. So that helps me grow in my purpose. It really brings me, because I like to be behind the scenes, but I'm grateful that my sisters push me into my purpose. So I think that's very important in divine connections, is that you help one another grow. And sometimes I always say that relationships either come to teach you something, or you become the teacher.
Yes,
so
yes.
Sometimes those roles reverse, and you're the student, and then sometimes you're the teacher. So I just try to learn my position in our relationships, because sometimes I'm the student, and sometimes I may share some experiences or just something that I've gone through to help you guys.
Yes.
That makes sense. That's a good point, because I wanted to, when you talked about that, the fact of being able to be your authentic self does leave room for growth. And when you grow, you do grow in purpose, you grow personally, financially, wherever that balance is. So if I could say, okay, I'm not good in finances or whatever, I want to be like, okay, well, you know, I have a good banker, I got a good budget where there's no judgment, but I can just say, here are the things I'm struggling with, here are the things that I'm going through, and then that sister can come and say, okay, here, I'm strong in that area, or I'm struggling in that area too, but I got some resources, and here's what I'm doing. And I love what you said, KK, about sometimes we don't share. So sometimes we don't share because we don't feel like it's a safe space. And then how do you grow if you don't share? If you're just in it by yourself, there's no growth.
Yes.
And then sometimes we don't share what we know to help the person grow, because like you said, it could be a competitive jealousy thing, like, well, I want her to get further than me. And I'm like, oh my goodness, there's so many people in the divine connection. You understand how to recognize and honor each other's gifts.
Yes.
And how to uphold each other in their weaknesses. And so either way, it's okay. And I like the fact that there's so many people that need so many things. It's like we all need to be #winning. It's just like you said, when my sister wins, I win. And not only that, other women win.
Yes.
If I help her to be strong, I know I can't touch everybody. There's going to be some people that Katrina don't touch that we can't touch. There are going to be women that Tenora's going to touch that Katrina and I can't touch. There's going to be women that are in my circle that they'll never see or never meet. And so if I strengthen them, that means I got a little hand, you know, in helping other women to get free. And so divine connections means that you can keep the bigger picture in mind. It's
Yes.
not about us, me, but we keep the bigger picture in mind. Oh my goodness, that's where the divine comes in. We keep the divine in mind.
Yes.
It's what he wants.
Yes.
And it's like, okay, well, I don't feel like doing this, but if that's what God say, if she said that's what God say, okay, that's what we're doing. Then we keep that in mind, and that's how we build one another up and build the kingdom at the same time. So God is using this relationship to really birth things in the kingdom, because we keep him first in the divine relationship.
Amen.
It's not about us individually
Yes.
or collectively.
Key
It's
point.
about the power we have together to really advance the motives of the kingdom.
Amen.
And that's what makes it good. That's what makes it really, really good.
Speaking of the kingdom, Genesis 12:2 says, NIV, and I will make you a great nation, and I will bless you and make your name great, so that you will be a blessing. And that is the summary. That is like the what I want to say, kind of like the theme over, or the
That's
over.
The theme.
Yeah.
The big picture.
The big
thing.
picture, the big picture of what a divine connection is. And then another key thing that you mentioned, sharing your gifts. You know, your testimony and your pain is never for yourself. It's always to edify and uplift someone else. That's why God gets us through it. The same thing with the gifts he gives us. We all have individual gifts, strengths, and weaknesses, but sharing those gifts that's the blessing. They're never for yourself, for one. They're always for others, and for the kingdom relationships. So
Processing what you're saying, and I'm thinking about, you know, how God operates. Everything is in a divine order. It's in sync. Even the timing, you know, when we met and how it was orchestrated, where you were, I had 2 separate meetings, but he just orchestrates things where it's his timing, his purpose, and it's all for, like you said, to serve him the bigger picture.
yes,
I never would have thought that, you know, these 2 young ladies would come into my life and to help me grow and to push me out of hurtful places. You know, although I try to exemplify, you know, and represent sisterhood, I'm not perfect, you know, so we all have areas that we need to grow in. And, you know, you never know who he's going to use.
yes, key point.
To, you know, be obedient.
Yes.
And to say yes, and to open yourselves up to who he's placed in your path. You know, it's awesome. It's divine order.
Speaking of that, and that divine order where it leads you to the next step, that next level. Because that meeting, when we did get together and for your event at the pink party, and you shared this with me after, you said, Katrina, that there was a point in the meeting when you was taking photos. I was trying to get your attention. There was an announcer, and you said you were like still. You had like just spaced out, and you were so intense on listening to that testimony. And you know the backstory, how I came back here to Cleveland and all that, losing my mom and all of that. And you sat there and said God had already gave you the revelation that she's going to share her testimony in 2018 at that time? 17. See, we can't even keep track of time. And so when you had mentioned there, I was not quite healed yet, not quite delivered yet. But I knew, okay, if God keeps working on me and people keep pouring into me, this relationship, uplifting, you guys encourage me, I'll get there. And then I got there. And then that turned into the ministry and walking into purpose and see other things. So with that one little meeting and the revelation he gave you, and it was already spoken. It was already spoken. And he just moved me into that. And then just the connections from that event.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, hallelujah. I mean, there is so many avenues. I mean, it just started here and it just grew and grew and grew. And in our future shows, we're going to invite some of those people in because we're going to show how God just works. He starts at the middle and he connects everything together. How about yourself, Chloe? From that event, what can you say that how it grew from that meeting, from that event? What did you take from that?
So that meeting, it really opened me up. It really kind of, it took like this, maybe I had this veil on before, like I was doing the workshops, but I didn't really see the importance of what I was doing. And so the meeting and then going to her event, that pink party event, that really shifted in regards to how I wanted to make women feel. That safe space that I wanted to be. So Tenora really was an example and a role model to me.
Yes.
That I wouldn't have gotten had I not gone to that meeting, that initial meeting where we got to know each other. So it was that which led to the pink party, which led to me really understanding the importance of one person, because she was one person.
Obedient. Yes.
Being obedient and the way she made me feel. And I'm like, oh, I feel so like, ooh, you know, because before I go anywhere to speak, I'm like, Lord, we coming here to give, I'm leaving with something. And you know, like when I go to a baby shower, look, I'm coming with a gift, but I'm leaving with one too. That's always my declaration.
At a baby shower. At a baby shower.
Baby shower. I mean, I'm winning one of them games. Now I'm saying I ain't getting to do it. Close your mouth. I'm winning. Okay? That's my declaration. So it was the same thing. I was going to the pink party to give, but I'm like, okay, I'm going to receive something. And boy, I can't even describe how that really changed the course of my ministry and business and how I operated with people, because I looked at Tenora as that example.
Yes,
so
yes.
Really just the way she moved and operated, and in the spirit of excellence and in the spirit of love, I'm like, yes, that right there, that's what I want to do.
There you go. So there you go.
And it might be her first time hearing this, but she was really my example of how I wanted women to feel.
Yes.
How I wanted to give up myself, whatever I had. The Bible says, silver and gold have I none, but such as I have, I give unto you. And that's
Amen.
what she did.
Yes.
So she exemplified and helped me in the course of my direction of where I wanted my heart to be in regards to my giving. And from there was relationships, and there was exposure. Like, oh yeah, I saw you there. As a matter of fact, one of the girls now, she was my client for empowerment coaching. She had come back to me. So stuff that's just, well, that was, 3 years ago?
Yes.
Yeah, that was 3 years ago, and I'm getting clients from that. I'm just the exposure of what I wanted to do. And I believe that when you're in a divine connection with the right motives, God will take you far. He will open doors for you, and we know it's not about us, it's about motive.
Yes.
We have the right motive, but the right people and the right perspective about who we're really doing this for, He will open doors. And ever since that event, he has been, excuse me, some of my eye, but I'm still passionate about what I'm saying. Ever since that event, he has been opening doors.
Yes.
Opening doors simply because I saw somebody doing it. I said, that is the heart that I want to emulate. I want to have her heart doing that. And he's been opening up doors still to this day. 3 years later, he's still opening doors for that event. So,
Amen.
thank
Yes.
you for being an example.
Exactly.
You know, and it goes back to us leaning on each other, learning from each other. But thank you for being an example of how to love women.
Yes.
Unconditionally.
Yes.
Thank you for being an example. Thank you for all that you do for women. Thank you.
And yes, and never changing, because I'm pretty sure that there's things in life that you have experienced hurt, like we all have. You know, that close girlfriend that thought that was your close friend, and it was betrayal there. You know, and but I thank you, because I'm pretty sure you experienced that as well, but it did not harden your heart. That you still, you know, are the example of that, and want that for every woman. So thank you.
Well, you're welcome, but I can't take the credit because that's the mission that God gave me. And again, I always say I'm not perfect, but I love people, I love women, and I do the best that I can. But I thank you both for, see, I don't know if you guys know, when I have an event or I have something, I always either have Tammy and Mia and Clotea and Katrina somewhere, because that's my safety net. So not only, you know, it's a twofold blessing, because you all, if I see your face in the audience or whatever we have, I feel safe. I know that my sisters are there and they're protecting me and they're looking out for me.
Oh, yes, because honey, some of we ain't gonna say nothing. Put it back.
Listen, keep it divine.
Divine, not diabolical devil. You ain't gonna make me punch nobody. Don't sit down. Okay, yeah, all right, all right.
You know, when you're dealing with people, other people, and women in situations, you know, sometimes even the topics that I get, I always share. When they come, it's like I have to experience those things. And it's so good to have sisters and friends placed around you to help hold you up, to help give you wisdom and encouragement to walk in your purpose.
Yes,
so I
yes.
thank you as well for walking in your purpose. And I'm so proud of Katrina. Look at her. She actually she came up, she called us and said, I got an idea, I'm going to start. And that, you know, she had tears in her eyes, just the passion and the motivation, you know, and I tried to come out and support you guys when you have an event. Clotea was forgiving. I mean,
Yes,
we're doing awesome work, and sometimes we need that shoulder to lean on.
Yes.
So I'm grateful for you too as well.
Yes, well, I know the viewers, if they have any questions for us, it's open for chat. I can see your question here, we can answer them.
Have viewers. I just got someone.
See, this is how we get caught up. Those divine connections, you get caught up. And look, the rest of the world doesn't matter after that, right? Another thing I wanted to share. Okay, so I have a question for the both of you. And you kind of answered some, but I want like the meat of it. Okay, so from this relationship, from this relationship, what, how do I want to say this? From this relationship, how has this divine connection impacted your life? I mean, I want that serious impact. What is the meat of it? The meat.
Go ahead, meet Tenora.
Okay, that's a very deep question. I would say if I would go to the core of my soul, I would say that it gave me what I had been looking for in friendship.
Yes, yes.
It gave me something that I wasn't sure if it's making me center. Y'all know I cry everything.
It's okay, it's okay.
You know, it really gave me the true meaning of experiencing sisterhood and friendship unconditionally, no judgment.
Yes, yes.
Loyalty, support. You know, it was just a bless. It is a blessing. That's the best way I could sum it up for you. It gave me something that I have been looking for. I have that with my own sister as well, but to have it outside and to be prophesied that, oh, you're going to get some, and I love my friends and appreciate the ones that I have. I do, but when it's divinely placed, you know, God sent it.
Yes,
you know,
yes.
It's His order. So He put this together. I didn't have anything to do with it. I'm just, you know, little old me, but He brought us together, and for that, it's the blessing. That's how I look at it. That's how it's impacted me.
All right.
Aw.
Oh.
My baby, I want to kiss you.
Here. Let me wipe your tears.
I know. You're making my nose go scratch on your head. Okay.
That, you know what, that speaks to the authenticity, because, you know, we don't just drop tears, just be dropping. When I'm crying about a friendship, no, when you've been hurt,
Yes.
been abandoned, and when you experience betrayal and you experience so much of the wrong thing,
Yes.
the right thing come along, you're going to drop them tears. You're going to be emotional.
Yes.
Because you're like, I remember them days where I didn't feel like I didn't have anybody. I remember those days where I felt misunderstood, put me on a pedestal because I'm doing a big party. They expected so much of me. I'm being poured here, there. I'm pouring out, nobody pouring in. That's going to make you emotional.
Yes.
So I definitely honor your tears because I see it as something that is sincere.
Yes.
And it really speaks to the pain that you have suffered at the hands of women, the same people who you were called to minister to. So you're like, okay, Lord, okay, you know what? So you call me to minister to women, but I keep getting hurt by women. Like, where did you do that at? You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So here we come to love on you. And so we respect that. And that kind of speaks to what it, in a nutshell, has done for me. It poured into me what I needed to be able to pour out.
Yes.
It poured into me authentic love and showed me how to love other people.
Yes.
And I don't know if I would have been able to do what I'm doing without this divine connection, because it showed me, not just told me. And ladies, listen, those of you who are wondering if some people are a divine connection or not, if they ain't. Because you don't have to wonder about it.
There you go. There you go.
It ain't.
Yes.
Because this was nothing that we can even define with words. It was something that was sure, it was immediate, it was solid, it was true, it was strong. And all of those things, I needed to be poured into me and show me, hello, this kind of love is possible.
Yes.
Now, I'm going to give somebody to you who's going to pour into you. Now, you're going to pour out this kind of love. Because, see, we love and do stuff, but it's out of the wrong motive. It's out of a hurt heart. And
Yes.
some of us are walking wounded.
Yes.
When
Yes.
you're walking wounded and you encounter a divine relationship, you can get healed, and then you can love out of that purity of heart and not go around hurting people.
Yeah.
So, in summary, this was really a healing place for me. I needed to see women in a different light. If I was going to minister to them, how you going to minister to women and you don't really like them like that because
Right.
you've been hurt?
Yes.
You all came and facilitated the healing touch that I needed to be able to pour out into other women. So, like I said, it's changed the trajectory, not just of what I'm doing, but of my whole life, my whole perception of women and what we are able and possible to do when we come together.
Yes.
Together.
That is so super important. Well, just for myself, I have to say, coming back to Cleveland, being gone so long, you know, I really asked God to send me sisters to fill that void. I was with my sisters, so the need wasn't there. But I said, send me those sisters that I can trust, but not only can trust, that I can grow with, you know. And if it's not that, Lord, you know, turn me the other way, you know. So when he started moving things in my life, and he's giving me the vision for this, he's moving me over here, moving me there, and you forget those things that you ask God for, and then before you know it, he drops it right there. Now this is you asked for it, so here's those sisters, And I walk right into that. And you're just like so amazed, like, gosh, you remembered I asked for that? Because I was okay with working for you or doing, with the gift you gave me, I'm going to move and elevate myself to that. But I forgot about what I had asked. And then he said, and when you forget about it, hey, it shows up. So you guys, you have your unique personalities. T, you quiet and soft-spoken. I know it's a little animal in there somewhere, but it's okay. We're going to pull it out. And then the love and compassion that you have for women. One key point that just warms my heart every time. Like, woo, woo, woo. You're going to make me cry now. Okay. Hold on. Let me turn the fan on. Let me turn the fan. When you said that you wish you could save them all.
Yeah.
Woo! That is big. That is big. Huge. To have a heart like that. And you don't have to know the women, but you want to save everybody. Ooh, Lord Jesus. Okay. Hold up. And then
she acted like she will.
Right.
Every effort that she put forth, say, I'm going to save all of them. I'm going to get it all of them. And I think that's where the disappointment has come in sometime. But I think the realization through our sisterhood is like, her effort is never like, okay, well, I ain't going to be able to save all of them. Her effort is always 110%. Like, she's going, everybody she can, she going to grab them all of them, hands full. Come
that's
on,
right.
Y'all, we all going.
Yes.
And I love that. So
yes.
right about that about her.
And then especially in this dying world, where there's, a lack of love. And that you still, embody this and you walk in it. Not no fake stuff, but you actually walk in it. And that's so refreshing. So thank you, Jesus. And thank you, Tenora. Okay, Miss Clotea. Woo. Hold up. Okay. All right. Now, Tenora. Chloe, I got to say, I've been saying this from day one when I met you. We're going to have you with some stand-up comedy for real. And look, I'm working on the show right now as we speak because you need to be doing some spiritual comedy because that part with love, there's also laughter. People need to laugh. And everything that you embody and the information that you give to women and you share that, that's super important. Like I mentioned earlier in the show, a lot of people don't share. You are a divine teacher. I told you that this once. You love teaching, you love sharing, and hey, I want to receive. I want to grow, and you do that for me. And that's awesome. That's awesome. And you never get tired of doing that. Whatever it is, whatever the topic is, you're going to look, I'm going to research it, I'm going to get some notes, and guess what? I'm going to put it out there. Number 1, blah, blah, blah. Number 2, blah, blah, blah. And that's awesome. That is super awesome. So you're walking in that. You're walking in teaching, trying to edify women and lift women up and giving them the tools they need for their purpose and definitely to get to their destiny. And you do that for me. On top of the laughter, because there's a lot of laughter as well. There is a question from one of our viewers, and she says, question, what drew you to the connection? Was it the God in the person they maybe didn't see, or God in you that they were drawn to? So that's pretty good.
Wow. Let me think about our initial. I think it was a little bit of both. I know that it was divinely orchestrated. I know that our meeting was divinely orchestrated, but I also think that it was God knew who to put, like when your mate, he knows who to put together. So I do think I like y'all personality. Like we meshed. I'm not going to say like, oh, it's all God and leave the part out that I love your personalities and how we're all different and how we all complement each other and how is that iron sharpens iron.
Yes.
So it was divinely orchestrated, but I believe that God, when we were little girls, said these three gonna be friends, and I'm gonna make her like this. And,
Right.
He gives us a personality. So I'm not gonna put it all on God. He orchestrated, but I was attracted to their personality. I was attracted to Katrina's like spunkiness and all that kind of stuff, and I was attracted to Tenora's meekness. And I don't know, I was somewhere. I don't know where I was, in the middle or out on the outside or something. I don't know where we were, but it was just I was attracted to their personalities and to their spirits, And God is the overarching. He brought us together, but I like them.
Yes.
I mean, I love them. I don't think you're gonna be in a divine connection with somebody you like. Good, it's a divine connection, but her attitude, right?
Right.
I truly like them as women, as people. I like them. Yeah.
What about you, Tenora?
I would have to say I agree with Clotea, but I also needed the spiritual part.
Yes.
Because for years, 3 years, we talk to each other on the phone almost every morning. We're on two different group texts, but we connect and we feed each other spiritually. And that part is something that I probably really needed, going through a lot of things and cleaning my life up. The food, the spiritual food that you two provide me with, that has been phenomenal for me as well.
Aww. But you know what? That key thing that the viewer mentioned, attracted to the God in them. That is so big, because we always, being kingdom women, and I think being a kingdom woman, you have to be conscious of walking and being a light in a world of darkness. And you can't really say that you're a kingdom woman if you're walking some other type of way. So being able, even though you might have hurt experiences and you may have a few walls up, but you have to find a way to tear down those walls and be delivered from the hurt, so you can do what God says or put you here to do. And I believe that this is so funny during this pandemic, that their phrase or their quote, "We're all in this together." But that's been God's way all from day one. We're all in this together. So being kingdom, being attached to the kingdom women, we're all in this together. One vessel alone can't do this by themselves.
No.
It's not. You can't grow by yourself. So if it's just one, if you have more than one, you're super blessed. So with that being said, we let's see. Do you have any more questions? Go ahead.
Before you take that, I just want to feed off of that and just add to it. I mean, because I know we're not sharing our testimonies.
But go ahead, but share whatever, honey.
I don't want to project I've had some things that I had to learn and grow through and to help myself get on the right path.
Yes, yes.
Sometimes we fall off. We have situations that we should not be involved in. You too, the divine order, it helps you to get back on that path.
You better say that.
Correct some errors in life sometimes. So that's what I was saying about the divine connection with you two. You are kingdom woman. Not to say that I'm not, but I had to clean up some things in situations that I may have been in to help me become that divine kingdom woman and to pull the next woman up. So sometimes our experiences we have to go through to help the next person.
But I want to say coupled with that, Tenora, we have not always walked that walk. I didn't come super religious. I walked, I was in the world myself. But you know what? I had to walk that, and God kept showing up, and I'm glad He didn't forget about me. I'm glad He kept, that grace. Okay, yeah, you fell off this time, but I had to walk through it. I had to figure it out as well. And when He kept showing up, and thank God that He didn't give up on me. People leave God. God never leaves us. And then when it gets to that point, those hard moments when it's just you and Him, and then you have to say, hey, it's time for a change. Lord, work on me. And it doesn't happen overnight. And like you said, a key point, you bring up the next. So Lord, you brought me through this. I'm going to share what you did for me. I'm going to share with the next. And I think that that's so super big, that because with divine connections, there's no judgment. You like, come on in. Come on in. Let me show you what works for me. There's no judge. I don't have to browbeat anything over your head. I'm just going to share my experience with you and show you how God got me to this point. Because I couldn't do it without him.
Amen. And we're all still a work in progress. I mean, we really are. None of us, so viewers, we don't want you to think like we've arrived and we're floating on clouds.
Right.
Because as long as we're alive, this flesh, because we grow in one area, this flesh. We grow in one area, and then God exposes another.
Yes.
And it keeps us humble. It keeps us before him. Then he show us that, okay, now work on this. Okay, I'm working on that. Then he show you something else. So it's in layers. And he reveals us to ourselves. And what better way to have yourself revealed to you than in a safe space of girlfriends, in a safe space of sisters where I can say, hey, I thought I was pretty good, but God dealing with me with my mouth. You know, like, my confession, or God dealing with me with my integrity. Like, I need to show up when I say I'm going to show up.
Yes.
So we're not, when we talk about divine connections, we're not talking about like a big sin. Really, no sin is big and small and stuff like that. But we're talking about the character, how we've been able to help each other in character stuff. Where it's like, okay, I can do better with my profession, or I can do better with the way I talk to people. I can do better with my attitude at work. I can get a little snippy sometimes. The character issues that we've been able to help each other through is amazing. And a lot of just example. It hasn't been a lot of, okay, girl, you need to do this or you need to do that. But when you're in a divine connection, you should have examples in those women, of women you can look to. And if it gets to the point where you need to say, I am struggling in this area, please help me, by all means, you can say that, but they should be women of high standard where you can look at their example like, don't be around a little chicken that had some of divine connection. They lied, stealing, don't keep their word, because your turn is coming.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
right.
You have to look at how women treat other women.
Yes.
If they talk about other women to you, I guarantee they talk about you to other women.
Yes, yes.
Now, keeping their word with them, if they, I got to go support this event, I can't stand it. Guess what? When it comes your time to do an event, they're going to be doing the same thing.
Exactly.
So you got to be mindful. And the thing is, when you're in a divine connection, God takes all that. It's like you don't even have to waste energy and time trying to figure out, does she really like me? Is she going to come to my event? If we don't support each other's event, it's because we got something else going on.
Yes.
You have to know that in a divine connection, you're around some bad women. Everybody got something going on. You won't go and get your feelings hurt because she ain't coming to your little event. She ain't coming to my event. You already know I'm around sharp women like me. They're going to be busy like me.
Yes.
So, I mean, we spend no energy or time even like, it doesn't cross my mind not a millisecond about their intentions, about their motives, about the way they speak to me or about me behind my back. That is a divine connection.
Yes.
If you are wondering and worried, well, I don't know if she's going to be a good friend, and I think she said so, all that stuff, cattiness, pettiness, jealousy, competition, we don't do that. And it doesn't even cross our mind, and that feels good.
Yes.
Everybody needs a divine connection.
Yes.
You don't leave this life without one. Seriously, don't leave this life without one.
Amen.
It feels so good to my heart. It feels good.
Well, you...
Oh, sorry.
Okay, so we're just about out of time. So I just want to leave the viewers with just a quote that from each of us, and I'll start it off, and you can just tag on a word with it. So I'm gonna start with let's start with stay humble, stay focused. Chloe, pick up from there.
Stay excited, stay in expectancy and believing.
And I'm going to add a stay in front of what I feel is very important. Stay allowing for error in your growth process. Allow for error. No one's perfect. We're going to make mistakes. But divine connections continue in error. It doesn't stop. You heal, you help each other, and you continue to grow
Yes.
in your process.
That's super awesome. I just want to tell the viewers, stay tuned for next Tuesday show, same time, 7 o'clock to 8 p.m. We'll have our special guest, Donnell Williams, and also Charnay Randolph, who will be joining the three of us, sharing their divine connection experience. We thank you so much for your time, viewers, and hopefully that you heard something tonight that you can carry on with you and share with someone else as well, because we're all in this together. All right. All right. Bye, guys.
It's a divine connection.